HCAM News is supported by our viewers and by Hopkinton Drug, located in this historic New England town since 1954. They are a multifaceted store dedicated to providing clients with an array of healthcare options.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of HCAM News. I'm HCAM News Director Tom Nappy. On today's edition of HCAM News, we have highlights from Week 4 of the Hiller Spring Sports season, a further look at the Boston Globe Marathon exhibit at the Hopkinton Center for the Arts, and the Hopkinton Women's Club hosted their 34th annual Meet the Candidates night. But first, eHop hosted their annual Know Your Vote Forum in preparation of the Hopkinton Annual Town meeting. eHop, aka Educate Hopkinton, hosted their annual Know Your Vote Forum as we head into the 2022 Annual Town meeting.
We'll be voting on a town budget of just over $100 million for fiscal year 2023. Now, this represents a 2.09% tax impact on residents and businesses, which equals an increase of $251 in taxes next year for the average home that is worth $681,100. Now, the town school budget is just under $55 million, which represents a 2.88% increase from FY22. The schools are projecting 214 new students to enter the system this fall. Now, there are bigger ticket items that we will be voting on. These items are debt inclusions, which basically means that if they pass, they will temporarily increase our taxes to fund the specific project, and these will require a second vote at the polls during the elections on May 16th. Now, these bigger items are a replacement of the fire engine for fire engine 2 budgeted for $736,318, upgrades and repairs in the vicinity of fire station number 2 in Woodville, budgeted for $400,000, repair work on the Lake Maspinock Dam area for $400,000, the replacement of air handling units in the middle school and high school buildings for $475,000. Increased cost for the Marathon School Addition project for $695,900. And finally, the replacement of the Fruit Street turf field for $1,671,543. Now let's get to the Q&A part, which is the most important part of today's session.
One of the big topics was the Fruit Street fields.
Is the town planning to use the same company to install the turf at Fruit Street?
So we put that out to bid, and I'll let the procurement and finance folks maybe talk about that process, but we don't know yet who's going to be constructing the field because we're waiting to receive bids next week.
The other thing I'd add is that, I mean, with any construction project, there are gonna be problems that occur, and maybe the folks from the school department could speak to it. But I'm imagining that these problems on the field are being handled by warranty. So probably not an ideal situation to have that open up, but our intention would be to work with reputable vendors. But we're kind of restricted by the process of going out to bid and seeing what the most economical bids are.
Yeah, and the other thing is to keep in mind, unlike the high school project where they had to start from scratch and do all the engineering and moving a lot of earth, we've already done that. We did that 11 years ago with the initial fields. This is really just like removing a carpet and replacing it, putting a shock pad underneath, and new, more environmentally friendly infill. So it's not as complex as a project as the high school fields were.
You can view the entire program at the HCAM YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAMTV. The Hopkinton Women's Club hosted their 34th annual Meet the Candidates program. Here's a look. The Hopkinton Women's Club hosted their 34th annual Meet the Candidates Night program. In this segment, we'll hear from the two candidates running for the two-year seat on the school committee.
We are all aware of how student debt of 1.5 trillion, is having a dramatic impact on students who overextended to pay the inflated costs of higher education in this country. A review of the Hopkinton High School Program of Studies for 21-22 lists no information or courses centered on personal finance. Freshman, sophomore, and junior seminars also do not list any topics around personal financial learning. As a member of the school committee, will you commit to pushing the superintendent to include meaningful personal finance coursework for every student that graduates Hopkinton High School? If not, can you provide your reasons as to why not? So it's a yes/no question, and then reasoning.
Do you want to answer first?
Okay, so why don't we start with, who will we start with? We'll start with Holly.
There's this great joke that you see all over the place, like, I don't know how to do my taxes, but I know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right? So I think that we should absolutely be giving our children real life lessons, like, how do I do my taxes? How do I balance my budget? How do I figure out how much money I have to spend on housing versus food versus entertainment? Like, even in college, kids don't really get that education unless they're like an econ major, right? As a chemistry major, like, you got me, I don't know. So I obviously use everything I've learned, but all the things that I've learned on personal finance, I've done on my own. Even applied statistics is not really a good financial background, right? So I think that I would definitely be on board. I would definitely be on board with having real life skill sets, particularly for our kids, because the expectation is everybody goes to college. But that's not the only path you can take. You can become an apprentice for a plumber, an electrician, like all of these wonderful jobs that don't require college. You want these kids to have skill sets beyond just learning that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell that they can use in real life every day, right? So I would absolutely support that.
Thank you. Ashley?
Yes, a real strong yes. I think kids should definitely be taught financial literacy. I think it goes alongside with even the basics of reading and math. I think that growing up and not having those classes myself gave me a disservice as I entered college and I entered young adulthood, and not being able to manage all the things that I should have been able to manage. My parents set me up really well, and I was able to fall back on them sometimes and be able to have them help me. But I definitely think that schools should lay the foundation for that financial literacy. I think if you lay that foundation, it requires them and it allows them to build strong money habits and avoid mistakes that then lead into lifelong money struggles. I think if we can get it back into the high school or even the middle school and teach that financial literacy, I think that it would set up kids a lot better, and that they wouldn't necessarily need to fall back on their parents, or they would be set up in a better situation. I agree with Holly that I think that we should teach taxes, we should teach how to create a monthly budget. We should talk about credit cards and what that means, that you don't just take out a credit card and you get to run it up and not have to pay for it. I think a lot of kids don't necessarily even understand the student loan process. They're going into college and not realizing that this money needs to be paid back whether or not they graduate or not. So I definitely think that financial literacy should be taught in school.
We are going to take a quick time out, a whole lot more ahead. Don't go anywhere. HCAM programming is supported by our viewers, thank you, and by Phipps Insurance Agency, representing companies such as MapFree Insurance. Their family-owned independent agency is deeply rooted in the communities they serve and offer time-tested insurance products to fit individual needs. Since 1950, Phipps Insurance specializes in home, auto, business, condo, and renters insurance. Welcome back to HCAM News. Hiller Spring Sports was in full action after the April break. Here's a look at the latest. On Thursday, April 21st, Hiller Baseball battled Ashland. Hopkinton leading 6-5 heading into the bottom of the fifth.
Always seems to be in the mix, that Joey Carazza.
Line up and the pitch, and he gets a piece of this one into center field. It goes. Pagliuca around to score. An RBI single for Carazza. That makes it a 7-5 Hiller lead.
As I was saying, he's sort of always in the fray.
And this is hit high in the air to right field towards the fence. And it's not going to be caught. Carazza's going to score. And now Locke going to head to third base. Here he goes, slides in, he's safe. An RBI triple. And it's a 8-5 Hiller's lead. And he gets a big piece of this one over to left center. Could be trouble. That's going to drop in. A run already in. And still rolling in the outfield. Bernie going to head over to third base. And that is where he will stay. An RBI triple. It is a 9-5 Hiller's lead. Been a lot of action.
Like 4 hours old already.
And this is ripped into center field. That's going to get down. Bernie is around to score. And it's going to make it a 10-5 game as Petruni slides in to second base with the RBI double. Hiller's plate 4 more runs, take the 10-5 lead, and would end up winning via mercy 15-5 in the bottom of the 6th. On Sunday, April 24th, Hiller Baseball battled Holliston. Prior to the game, they recognized Hiller Hall of Famer Fred Murphy of the class of 1961, who passed away recently.
This year we added the initials FM in honor of Mr. Fred Murphy, and I don't like fully how it came out, but it's still on there. And Fred is a man, Mr. Murphy, I should say, I feel awkward calling him Fred, is someone that is a legend in Hopkinton, as I said, and well, we'll talk a little bit about him in a minute. Mr. Fred Murphy was a 1961 graduate of Hopkinton High School. While in high school, all he did was serve as student council and class president. He was a 3-sport star in football, basketball, and baseball. Legend has it that he hit the farthest home run in Hopkinton High School history. I want the Murphys to know that his record is safe with these guys.
Scoreless game heading into the bottom of the 3rd.
Carazza's got a big lead over at third base.
Wind up in the pitch. Hit in the air over to center field. Could be trouble. And a collision between the shortstop and center fielder. And Carazza's going to come around to score. Peters winds and deals. And that is going to drive in a run. A little chin music for the walk. And Nick Pahara comes around to score. Wind up and the pitch. And this is hit in the air over to left field. Could be trouble. It is caught. Runner from third is going to tag. Here comes Dylan Locke around to make it a 3-0 game. A sacrifice RBI flyout by Gone. Hiller's plate 3 runs. and would end up taking the game 4-0. On Monday, April 25th, Hillers softball hosted Holliston. Hillers leading 2-0 in the bottom of the second, and this happens.
And she gets a great piece of this one over to left center. See you later. Home run. A 2-run blast by Caroline E. Simone. And it's 5-0 Hillers. Absolutely crushed her second home run of the season.
Hillers took the 4-0 lead, but Holliston fought back, and we went into extra innings with the score tied at 8 apiece. Kelsey McCoy at the plate in the bottom of the 8th.
Up the middle, and that'll get into center field. Game-winning run being waved around. The throw off the mark, and the Hillers win. An RBI base hit by Kelsey McCoy as Sarah Pessin, the pinch runner for Cedia, comes around to score.
She knocks in the winning run, and Hillers take the 9-8 walk-off win over previously undefeated Holliston. On Tuesday, April 26th, Hiller boys track and field took a dominant 122-14 win over Medfield. Hillers swept through 8 events and both relays. They took first place for the victory. Hiller girls track and field took the 85-51 win over Medfield. The Hillers swept in all 3 throwing events to help edge out Medfield. On Wednesday, April 27th, Hillers softball improved to 4 wins and 3 losses with a 21-4 road win over Ashland. It is their first time above 500 this season. Ashland baseball got some revenge, hosting Hillers, taking them down 13-12 on April 27th. Hiller baseball now stands at 4-2 on the season. Hiller boys lacrosse falls to 2-5 on the season with a 9-2 loss versus a very good Dover Sherborne team on April 27th. Hiller girls lacrosse kept it close with one of the best in the TVL, Dover Sherborne, but fell short 13-10. They are now 0-7 on the season. Hiller boys tennis remains unbeaten with a sweep over Ashland on April 27th. They improved to 6-0 overall. Hiller girls tennis also swept Ashland, improving to 6-1 on the season. Prior to this year's Boston Marathon, the Boston Globe hosted a marathon exhibit at the HCA. Here's a look.
Hi, I'm Chris Waldman, ex-co-director here at HCA and co-creator of this show.
I'm Arthur Dion. I'm a longtime HCA volunteer, and with Chris designed and produced this exhibition with the support of the Globe and of Art and Frame Emporium, who did marvelous printing work for us.
So about 3 years ago, I was then co-director here at the HCA, and I was thinking about what fresh theme we could have for our annual marathon show. And the year before, we had the BAA in here showing artifacts and memorabilia from their archives. And I wanted to do something really fresh and new, so I enlisted Arthur Dion, who is Director Emeritus of Gallery Naga in Boston, and had also worked with me on many installations here at the gallery. And we batted around some ideas and finally landed on this one to show the history of the marathon through the eyes of the globe. And we were really excited about it. We just thought it would be great to show through the passage of time how much the globe has changed in terms of the kind of coverage it does and the look of the paper, as well as look at the marathon and how much it's changed over time. And then we ran into one issue. We wondered, how are we going to make this happen? I'm going to pass it over to Arthur.
Well, we contacted Matt Pepin, who said, that's actually a good idea. And he connected us with Aaron Magran. And we said, could we please have the first page of the Globe every day for the last 125 years on the day after the marathon, and the first page of the sports section. And someone whom we haven't met but who's our secret hero, Jerry Mannion, a Globe librarian, produced 250 pages for us to pour through, and looking at them visually, looking at them historically, looking at them sociologically, the look of the globe, the look of the marathon, the demographics of the marathon, the benighted days of the past when women were thought unfit and everyone except white guys were identified first by their ethnicity, to today when the Globe and the marathon are both taking positive steps to move into the future, created this show. And we tried to address both inglorious moments of the past and moments to celebrate in the recent history.
I'm Gregory Lee. I'm Senior Assistant Managing Editor for Talent and Community at the Boston Globe, and we're celebrating our 150th anniversary. And it's the Boston Marathon is a very big part of our coverage, as you know. We're partnering here with the Hopkinton Center, do a big gallery of all our pages over the years, and you know, it's great to celebrate not only what we have done over 150 years, but all events just like the Boston Marathon and our coverage, and how it's a big fabric of our community. And it's just good to see, looking at all the pages and what the type of, over the years, and how the marathon has grown along with the Boston Globe. And it's just a great relationship today to celebrate 150 and second race in 6 months for the Boston Marathon. So coming here into the community to share our stories and share the perspectives of the growth of both organizations is a great partnership, and looking forward to tonight's event.
time to tell you about some happenings in town you should know about. Show your school spirit. You can purchase one of these very cool Hiller H flags and support the class of 2022. To purchase one of these wonderful flags, head over to hopsenior2022.com. Our picture of the week, Hopkinton Little League opening day with over 600 children playing baseball and softball, gathering at Carrigan Park after their march through downtown Hopkinton. Best of luck to all the little leaguers out there, and we hope it is a wonderful season. Upcoming town government meetings include the Super Bowl of all government meetings, the annual town meeting, which will start on Monday, May 2nd at 7 p.m., continue Tuesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m., and possibly Wednesday, May 4th at 7 p.m., all live on HCAM TV. And also Saturday, April 30th at 5 p.m., HCAM will host our annual contested races debates. For more information on upcoming town government meetings that will be live, head over to hcam.tv/gov. And for further information on upcoming town government meetings, head over to hopkintonma.gov. Believe it or not, we are out of time for this edition of HCAM News, but don't worry, next Thursday at 6:30 p.m., we'll be back for a brand new episode. As always, we thank you for tuning in. From all of us at HCAM, take care, be well, and enjoy the rest of your day.